Hey y'all, it's Kathy Bowe. I'm your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I would like to share with you another Stamping 101 video. We've talked about the catalog with Stampin' Up! We've talked about the adhesives and different ways to use them. We've covered a good bit of the big shot and talked about framelits and thinlits and that's my dog. Come here, baby. And framelits and thinlits and embossing folders, things like that. We've talked about cardstock and its friends. And tonight we're talking about stamps. There are 3 kinds of stamps that you will find in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. And I will show you right now. This is our occasions catalog. And we have an annual catalog that also comes out once a year. The occasions come out twice a year. And we have Celebration, which is a special catalog. All of that you can find out in the first series called, it's video number 1, catalogs. Okay, so this here is a photopolymer stamp. All right. And you will hear the phrase clear stamps, but don't be confused. We can see through these, so you'd think that these are clear stamps, but they're actually called photopolymer because they were kind of late to the party. A clear stamp is actually one like, I'll just show you this one, like this, because you use a clear block. It's actually a red rubber stamp, and it's got a foam layer to it, and then the stamp itself, it's got a little excuse me, it's got a little label on it that you can choose to add the label or not. I'm going to show you how to do that, but they call them clear stamps because it's a clear block. And again, these are called photopolymer, and they're very popular. It's a great little stamp. They're with Stampin' Up! There are very crisp images. Be careful when you buy photopolymer stamps. Sometimes they're just not great quality. And the third kind is the wood block stamps. And these are red rubber stamps, and you put them onto wood blocks. So they're really the same as a clear stamp. They're made the same. But instead of using a clear block that you can see through, you would use a wood block. Okay, and they also have the labels to go on them too. So let's look first at the photopolymer stamps. Stampin' Up! Also has these amazing little cases that all of their stamps come in. And the way that I keep up with mine, I write the name of the catalog, which in this case it's the Occasions Catalog 2018. It just lets me know as a demonstrator where to put it in my stash, because if I'm going to teach a class, I want to have a current stamp. Something that if somebody really loves it, they can actually purchase it, because otherwise they're going to be like, oh my gosh, I want that one and I can't get it for them. The little cases they come in, you can see how the little label comes out, and you can actually purchase just this. And I use these a lot for a couple of things. I use this case for I put in decorative paper, our designer series paper, and on the inside I will put a notepad and a pen. And when you close it up, it's just a cute little notepad carrier thing. But this particular one, we'll just put this back in here. Come on now. There we go. And it's good to go. Okay. Now the photopolymer stamps, they're very sticky when you first get them. They're like sticky. Not too bad, but I mean, enough. So what a lot of people do, they'll rub this, just kind of pat their shirt or their jeans, something like that, just to get some of the sticky off. And when you're removing the stamp from its plastic for the first time, you don't want to distort the stamp. If it's stuck on there really hard, this one seems to be, you want to just gently kind of urge it up and push on the back as well. You're kind of pulling the plastic away from the rubber stamp or the photopolymer stamp. And pretty much that's all the care and feeding you need to know about these. The only other thing is you want to use some kind of a pad. I actually have a Stampin' Pierce mat that I use only for these stamps. And what you do, you would take your stamp and we'll put it on our little clear block like this. And I'll go ahead and ink this up and stamp something real quick for you. Let's see. Let me find a piece of scrap paper here. Okay, just a sec. Stick with me here. Okay. I'm going to use this, and we will use Memento Tuxedo black ink on all of these. And really, you can ink it both ways because this is a small stamp. You could just set your block down, your ink down, and just ink it this way. Okay. Oops. So there we go. Now the purpose of this particular set is called Waterfront. So where you see that vague area there, that's actually the type of stamp. It's supposed to have like a watercolor mark. There's no fault here in this stamp. It looks exactly like it should. Okay, so that is your photopolymer stamp, and you're going to clean all of the stamps the same way. This is called the Stampin' Scrub, and we like to tease and say it's the cheapest washer and dryer you'll ever buy. You spritz the washer side. Let me close this real quick. You spritz the washer side with your Stampin' Mist, and you just scrub it a little bit, and you dry it over here, and bam, there you go. Okay. So the other thing too, I mean, you could put this under some running water or whatever, but I don't. I use my Stampin' Scrub to keep this integrity of the stamps as close to new as possible. And you don't have to keep them with this, but I do because it came with it. It's just kind of like it belongs together, so I keep them together. Okay, so those were the photopolymer stamps. All right, let's look now at the clear block stamps. All right, this is how they will come. You'll get a label, and you'll get your stamps. Excuse me, I keep feeling like I have a frog in my throat. Okay, so this particular type of stamp comes in a pad that's punched out pretty good. You just got to finish getting it out, okay? And you'll punch all of them out, and then this right here has a little paper backing that you'll peel off. You'll never want to keep this on there. Just go ahead and peel them off. And at this point, you could just go ahead and use the stamp this way. You could, but if you want to put the label on it, which I always like to, you find the label that looks like it, and that's this one. And I don't know if you can tell what it says, but we'll see in a minute. Now there is, on each of these, there's a score line, and I did not know this for probably 2 years when I first started with Stampin' Up. There is a score line that you can just peel away. Every single one of them has a little crack score line like that and that. So you just peel it away, and then all you do is lay your stamp down. We're putting the foamy side down. And because, you know, how I showed you used this Stampin' Pierce mat with the photopolymer, the reason we did that was the photopolymer does not have any kind of foam to it. So when I pick it up, I pick up the sticker, Okay, and now I'm going to bend it over. Kind of looks like a guitar, doesn't it? And that's my dog over there snoring in the corner. She cannot be far from me. That girl loves her mama. Okay, and actually I would use a larger block for this, so I'm just going to get this one. And you just pick it up with the block. And sometimes after you've used a block a lot, or you've used a particular stamp a lot, you're going to find that maybe it doesn't stick as well. So sometimes I will just take the snail adhesive and just kind of put a little bit on my block and then put my stamp on it like that. Okay, and then that will hold it. Okay, so let's stamp this. And it's a smaller stamp, so I will do this with it. See, I got some pretty good coverage, but look at there. Okay, I got to get the rest of that. There we go. And I bet you can tell what it says. Amazing. That's right. Amazing. And now I'm going to clean this one. It just takes a moment to keep your things in order. If you clean it while you're using it, you don't have a big old mess at the end. Why have my kids not learned that? Actually, one has. Okay, so you just stick it. I like to keep this this little pattern thing because I'll always know if I'm missing a stamp, even though there's a count on the front of it. There's 8 pieces. And of course, you know, this is a small enough set, you could look at it and tell, but it just, at a glance, I can see, am I missing a teeny tiny stamp or do I have all of them? And that's important, especially when you're sharing with a group. Okay, so now let's look at this set. This set is kind of special to my heart only. Before I get into the actual mechanics of the woodblock stamps, I want you to know this stamp set was designed by a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator who is also a pharmacist, and she spoke to us at an on-stage presentation, which is Stampin' Up's equivalent to like a convention. And I was so touched by her story. And she's not on social media. She's a $1 million seller. I was just very touched, very impressed with her abilities. Just from just being a good demonstrator, you know, and hosting classes and stuff. It was great. Okay, so you see that this woodblock stamp set, these look a little different. They're not. They don't have. They're just different than what we saw over here because of the nature of the sticker things. Let's see. We'll do the kitty cat and the chair because that's kind of easy. We're just going to peel this up. It just peels right up like this. And I would expect we can put Miss Kitty right there, okay? And let's see what I punched out earlier. Huh, now that's just serendipity. I really did not even realize that's the one I punched out. Okay, so what you do, you would put your sticker on the appropriate block. Some sets you're going to have a bunch of blocks, and you want to, before you start peeling off like I just did, because I knew I only had 4 to choose from, you want to take your block and you want to lay your stamp on it and just see which stamp goes with which block. Because if you were to put this stamp on that block, well, there's not going to be a block big enough for this guy, okay? I mean, that's a little extreme, but you'll see if you use these wood blocks, you definitely want to, you know, you may have a stamp this big and then you may have one that big and there might be a block just for that little guy. So you do want to kind of plan them out, lay them out, and be sure that everybody fits everybody. Okay? And I mean, this this just happens to work out really well because I've done it a gazillion times. Now, this particular thing, we don't need this because your blocks are going to be, they're not going to fit on this. So a couple of things you can do here. When I first started out, I would cut these up and I would use them as dimensionals on my projects. But now we have dimensionals, which are these Stampin' Dimensionals, look like this. And they're foamy and they're easy, and we don't need to keep these anymore. But if you can find a good use for them, enjoy them. I, however, don't use them. Okay, so the other thing you want to be sure you do with your block is you want to be sure that you put it on correctly. When you look at your block, you want to be able to say, okay, it's going to stamp this way. Because what if you've already figured your project out and you're stamping directly onto your project? Well, if this is upside down, different from the image, then you're going to have a mess. So I'm going to put him like this, and I'm going to peel his little back off. And again, you're going to see the foam layer here. So you do not need the the Stampin' that pad. You don't need that pad. Now this is super duper sticky. Don't play with it. Don't touch it and all that junk. You want it to just go right to your block, just like that. Okay. So now let's see how our kitty cat looks. And now I know I'm going to stamp him just like this because I put him on correctly. Okay. And I'm in Georgia, so we say kitty cat. Y'all might call him something else, but I call him a kitty cat. Oh my goodness, look how sweet he is. Don't you just want to color that? I sure do. Okay, so that is your wood block. And take care of it just as you do your others. You're just going to scrub it clean, dry it over here. And let me tell you too, your photopolymer stamps, they're going to get, you can probably tell already here, the one time I used it, there's just a little red color to it. That's okay. They're going to get stained. They're going to get stained. Your blocks, you're going to have ink around here. That's okay. It's just, they're just gently loved. That's all they are, is just gently loved. So that is Stamps 101. If there are other kind of stamps out there, I'm not familiar with them. But they're, actually, let me show you too about the Stamp-A-Majig. Because the woodblock stamps are a great example. This is called a Stamp-A-Majig. I think now it's probably a different color. I think it's like a tan color. I'm not sure. Anyway, I keep mine in the little folder it came in because it's easy to find, and if I leave it in my drawer like this, I will not see it. So let me show you what we do with this. All right, here's another thing about Stampin' Up! Cardstock. You can flip it over and nobody knows you've ever stamped on it. Your Stamp-A-Majig is just going to be a guide for positioning, okay? And particularly with a woodblock stamp, you're not going to be able to see where you're stamping because you can't see through it. So let's put some ink on it. Okay, and let's just say that I want my stamp to be, oh, where's my pencil? Here we go. Let's say I want my stamp to be between here and here, okay? And whether or not it's evenly spaced or whatever, doesn't matter. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put this corner of the Stamp-A-Majig right here. I'm going to put that corner into the T-square. I call it a T-square. There's a slick side to this and a bumpy side. I use the slick side. I'm going to put my wood block all the way up in here. And I'm going straight down. Okay? So there's my image. So now I need to put my image in between these lines. So I'm like, well, maybe I'll put it up here. How about if I put it right on that line? I'm going to put that little kitty cat right there. Put my Stampin' Majig back. I get my ink. And I ink this guy up again because I've already used him once on my Stampin' Majig. I'm going to pull this away. Then I'm going to come right here again, right against it, straight down. And there he is. He is exactly where I wanted him to be. How cool is that? It makes us look smart too. That's the neatest thing. It makes you look like such a professional. So, okay, that is all I've got to share with you tonight with my 101 series. Please subscribe, and just know that I would love to help you with all of your stamping, whatever you need. I figured that doing a 101 series would be the most helpful to a lot of people. I had to learn a whole lot myself. And we're going to talk about organization shortly, or soon, next couple of videos, I think. So, shop at kathybo.stampinup.net. Visit me on Facebook, Kathy Bohannon, Creatively Blessed, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye.